Well, as you know, the People's Choice Award for the Community Spirit Awards that the ABC is holding is underway now, and I have just a lovely story for you. When Claire Lane was a child, she used to watch a cartoon show called Captain Planet and the Planeteers. The program was about a superhero who used his supernatural powers to solve environmental problems. Years later, Claire was working as a theatre nurse in an operating theatre and watched as what's called 2 hip packs containing mostly disposable items needed for a total hip replacement surgery were thrown away. Then and there she vowed to find a way to stop perfectly good, usable medical supplies from ending up in landfill. Claire is a modern environmental superhero and a finalist in the ABC Radio Brisbane Community Spirit Awards. I asked her to tell me the story of how Save Our Supplies came to mind.
Yeah, well, basically just the wastage in the hospital. So I remember the week that we started it, we had 3, well, I'll explain the packs. We get total packs for our operation, so it has everything that you need inside it, with gowns and gloves and drapes and syringes and hypodermics, and I could go on.
So every time someone goes into operating theatre, the staff get a pack of stuff.
Yes.
Equipment, basic equipment. Okay.
Yeah, so the basic things that you need for these operations. So we had 3 total hip replacement packs one week, and the first one was unsterilised because there was a little nick in the outside of the packet, and if the outside packet's damaged, everything on the inside is considered unsterile.
Even though they're sealed themselves?
Yeah, well, they're not all sealed themselves. So some items are, so for example, the hypodermics and the scalpels are sealed inside a packet, but given the fast nature of the operating theatre work, we don't always have time to be able to go through to get these things out.
So are there any holes in this? Okay.
Yeah. So we do look it up and put it up and check for the holes.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So that one had a little nick, and then the next one, the patient was cancelled. But we'd already opened the pack, but the patient was cancelled, so we had to get everything out again for another patient.
So the whole pack gets thrown away?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, wrapped up and thrown in the bin.
Okay.
And then the third pack, there was a fly in the operating theatres, and Australian health standards, if there's a fly in the theatre, everything's dirty and everything has to go. So there was 3 packs and they're worth around $200 each. And I went to my managers and my supervisors and my educators and went around everybody going, what do I do with this? They're like, nothing, we throw it in the bin. I'm like, but it's fine. It can be used anywhere that we want it to, like anywhere else that's not an operating theatre. And basically I got, don't ask too many questions. That's just the way it's always been done. Yeah. So then I went home and I researched a bunch of places to see if anywhere actively collects these items, and nowhere actually actively collected it. So hence the charity. So I found the Rotary. So the Rotary normally sends stocks to like underprivileged schools and everything. But then when there's an underprivileged school, there's going to be an underprivileged hospital. Okay. So we've kind of piggybacked with their distribution network, and we've officially partnered with them. And they distribute a lot of our stuff over to developing nations.
So these are medical supplies, medical equipment, gowns, syringes, scalpels and the like.
Yeah.
$200 a pack, and the slightest thing sees them thrown away.
Yes.
Up until you're questioning, why are we doing this?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Because even though they don't reach our standards for the hospital, they're still perfectly clean and usable and can be used in a lot of other environments other than our hospitals.
All right. Well, I never knew any of that, so I'm getting an education about what happens inside a surgery.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the general public quite has much of an idea. I think if you're not working in that environment, you just don't see it.
Okay. So how much wastage do you reckon occurs? I mean, you work inside an operating theatre.
Yeah.
How much wastage is occurring? Any idea? Can you quantify it for me?
Well, just for an example, a couple of weeks ago, I got 800 gowns that had gone past their expiry date. I get
their expiry date. They're not a food stuff. They're not a perishable.
They're not. But then because of, again, with our Australian standards, we have to have an expiry date. And if they go past that expiry date, they're technically not usable. But we've used them in healthcare for the homeless clinics and stuff like that, and they've gone across to PNG.
Okay.
And then another good example was getting about 5,000 masks halfway through the year. So still in the middle of a pandemic, I'm still getting proper N95 masks and everything, and a lot of gloves. So the gloves, we open sterile gloves in theatre, and then if we accidentally touch the little packet that comes inside the glove packet, those gloves get thrown in the bin. So I get quite a lot of them as well. And then one week we had 3 shipping containers worth of hand sanitizer worth about $800,000 that we sent across to Fiji. So we received them because they'd ordered too much, basically, and also the manufacturer had printed the wrong date, like the wrong expiry date on the bottle. So it said it expired sooner than what it did, but we have a certificate saying actually it expires at this date. It was just a product error or a typo, basically.
Right. Yeah. And so that stuff would normally be thrown away or trashed.
Yes.
And you've gone, this is not right.
No, it's not. Absolutely. So I wasn't able to put too much effort into it to start off with because I was living in a granny flat with my partner at the time and our 2-year-old. So we couldn't do too much. And then, so once I finished my bachelor's, once I had my second child and they were all at school, then I was able to put a bit more focus into it. But in the beginning, we both, like I brought it home and I showed it to my partner going, look at this is crazy. And he was studying his Masters of Business at the time. So he's like, yes, let's start a charity. So he knew how to do all the business side of it and I knew how to do all the medical side of it. And the rest is history.
My guest is Claire Lane. Claire Lane is a finalist in the ABC Radio Brisbane Community Spirit Awards. She and her partner started up, or her former partner started up, Save Our Supplies. Steve Austin's my name. So what do you do now? What's changed? So you're one of those people that you see a problem and you think, I'm going to fix this. This is not right. So you saw a problem that worried you. You thought, this is morally wrong. We can make something better. So what happens now?
So now my dream would be to have it in every workplace in Australia, that nothing usable gets thrown away. But at the moment, we're just focusing on the Brisbane and the outer regions of Brisbane. So we have a clean collection bin now in 10 hospitals, and we also have 5 hospitals on our waiting list. But we can't take them on at the moment until we get a storage facility secured, because it's still in the back of my house, so there's limitations to what I can do with that. And then as far as limitations with getting people that want to volunteer to come in. So once we've got that sorted, we're going to go headfirst into getting it into every other hospital that's on our waiting list.
Was it difficult to get the hospitals on board?
Some of them, yes. Like the staff are really excited about it and the staff are really on board, but then you get the logistical side from the hospitals that they're not happy about the wastage, basically. But I'm trying to change their way of thinking to not viewing it as wastage and not viewing it as a bad part on the nurses or the doctors on sterilising things. We've got a great healthcare standard in Australia. We need to view this as we can use it elsewhere and not view it as we're making mistakes and we're basically people getting in trouble for wasting things.
So you're combining both, efficiency, environmental, sort of priorities or friendliness, and assisting someone that can't afford what we're throwing away that's perfectly good.
Absolutely.
Claire Lane is my guest. How would I describe you normally? You're a scrubs nurse. How would you describe yourself?
Yes, I'm a scrub nurse and an anaesthetic nurse, so that's what I do as my paid job. And I've always wanted to be a nurse my whole life. But now my career direction has changed once I've started Save Our Supplies. So I would like to do this as my job. I'd like to get funding just to pay myself what I get paid as a nurse. Okay. And this would be my dream job to do at the moment. And then once COVID restrictions are over, I'd love to go volunteer with all these places. That was always why I wanted to be a nurse, was to go and volunteer or work overseas.
Now, what's in the back of your house currently then? So this stuff is, before it gets shipped to Fiji or Papua New Guinea or somewhere, it's sort of resting in the back of your house until you can get formal storage facilities. So what's there?
So the room that was supposed to be the kids' TV and rumpus room is the charity room in the house. So they're not too happy with me. But I have...
Suck it up, kids.
Indeed. We take it home. So I take the clean collection bin home from the hospital and then we sort it out. And I've got clear plastic containers that they go into. So I've got a container for gowns and drapes and bandages and everything. So I fill up my clear plastic containers and then once they're full, I put them into a cardboard box and then that gets shipped over to the Rotary. But then I have other organisations that if I send them my inventory list, they let me know what they require and I will package it up and send it to them.
Okay, so Rotary has established networks and established countries that they assist already. And so you're in my mind, being quite smart by using their distribution network.
Yes. Well, I never would have been off the ground if I had to ship it myself. Like, I don't have the means to be able to ship it myself.
Of course.
Yeah.
So what does Rotary do? They come to the back of your house and say, OK, we're here, Claire.
Indeed. Yeah.
So tell me what happens.
So they hire a truck and a couple of people come over and they fill the truck up and send it off to their warehousing, and then they go through their distribution networks.
OK.
Yeah.
So who else has Save Our Supplies helped? Can you tell me? Is there anyone else we've missed?
So in the start of 2020, when we had the awful bushfires, we directed all of our supplies to wildlife charities to help the injured wildlife. I also sent my children down to Kangaroo Island a couple of days after their fires because I have family there, and they went with a suitcase full of things to help the kangaroos, so they were very excited with that. We've also supplied universities with items for their training classes for the next generation of doctors and nurses. We have helped, there's a charity called Sunny Street, which is a healthcare for the homeless charity on the Sunshine Coast, and we've helped them with items for their street clinics such as gowns and gloves and bandages, etc. And then when I had the surplus of hand sanitizer, I also sent that to a few other community outreach programs throughout Brisbane, such as Orange Sky, and I sent some to the kids' school, and so the school got about 200 bottles of sanitizer, and so did the before and after school care program.
So what should happen? What would you like to see happen next, Claire Lane?
Well, I would like Save Our Supplies to be part of every workplace policy. So it's part of every policy that nothing gets thrown away that is still in a usable condition.
And so you've been nominated as a finalist in the Community Spirit Awards.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. I heard about the nomination not long ago. My dad, good on him. Yeah, so snuck that one in on me.
He's proud of his daughter by the sound of it.
He is.
And what you're doing.
Yeah, no, he's a great help, and he's also on our board of directors because he's got a good business background as well, so he helps me out a lot. So, no, it was very sweet of him.
So how does this help the community? Give me the philosophical argument. How does this help someone else, Claire Lane? I want to give you a chance to run your flag up the flagpole.
Indeed. Well, as like a ground level, it's helping our wastage, so this isn't going into landfill and it's not going towards climate change and everything like that. But we're also helping, like as I said, we're helping the homeless communities with items that they need, and then so they've got better access to it. We're helping the hospitals by basically being able to sleep at night, I think, is a bit more, and get the warm fuzzy feeling. It's like, hey, we're actually doing something. We're not being part of the problem, we're being part of the solution.